it is literally the hardest thing that you will ever do, to sit with trust when your moment of darkness comes. And it's funny because there's a certain point where, and perhaps it is always, it doesn't take anything to trust. All trust requires is to sit there and do nothing, and to allow everything to be handled and taken care of for you. And there seems to be a time when we are triggered and we do not trust, and so we react, and there's a time where one has gained enough awareness that one now has the inherent self-discipline to not necessarily react in the same ways as before. And I would say, if one has chosen to be on a journey of expansion, which you have, then we're always getting better and better and better at coping with these moments that trigger that darkness and that lack of trust. And we're always gaining new tools. If we're looking for them, then we'll always find them, new tools to help us to manage, and manage may not be the right word, but to manage these emotions. I say manage may not be the right word because it really is, the management is accepting them and expressing them, because it's when we suppress and stifle them, because these are your needs, right? We suppress and stifle them, and it's like, I can hold it all on my own. I can hold it all on my own. I can hold it all on my own until I can't. And then I'm going to snap, right? And I'm going to engage in some kind of self-destructive or addictive behavior, which is not in my best interest. It's not in anyone's best interest, and it's not really what I want to do, right? And it's funny how expressing that does take the edge off of it, shedding the light on it, even if it feels like it's insane. I shouldn't be feeling this way. But I do. Right? So this is where it's like, you really start to see that this trust in the divine and in God, it's inextricably linked from your trust with yourself, right? So it's like, actually, oh wow, in this moment of intense trial and tribulation and testing, I can actually find that deep closeness with the core essence of myself, which is the essence of God. And I think the essence of confession as well, wow, we're given such a caricature in the world of what confession is like in religion. But this is, it's the confessing of how you really feel, It's confessing the honest truth. Even, and not needing that to necessarily be rational, the acceptance of the fact that that is the human condition, is that it's not gonna be rational. But that doesn't necessarily mean that it's, insane in the psychopathic, deranged sense, that I think we have this core, fear deep down inside that, that you're a secret psychopath, that you secretly have bad intentions or something like that. And that's one of those shadows that, it has to be stared into in a very brave, deep way in order to see that it's not true for yourself, because nobody else can really tell you this. You have to experience it for yourself, which means taking on the risk that, maybe these horrible things might be true. Maybe I'm just, a completely self-absorbed, narcissistic asshole, right? But so far I find if you stare at it long enough, you realize that that is not what's happening here. And it's safe, therefore, to trust yourself. That you're doing the best that you can. The best that you can is honest, even if it's not always logical. That the safest bet is your authenticity, right? But it's so hard. It's hard to sit with these things and to not take actions or to, become preoccupied, I find, with thoughts of self-harm on one level or another. So this stillness, this inner stillness, not the bravado of I don't care inner stillness, but real true peace. It's just interesting because it's the human predicament. It can't be avoided, but I believe that it can be seen through. It can be seen that the fear is an illusion. that absolutely doesn't seem to make the fear go away. It leads one to believe that that it may be worth cultivating methods of dealing with this life, right? Instead of just being like, fuck it. Like we did in the past, right? Fuck it, I give up on life, I quit. Because my defiance says that you can't make me. And so it's been so pivotal for me anyway to come to believe and accept that I planned this life before I got here for a purpose, which I do not need to understand fully today, but which is inevitably tied to my joy. And inevitably, I am already victorious. You know. Which seems to be radically different from the beliefs of the past, right? And really because of the message and conditioning of the world that is literally the exact opposite of that. So this is this like beautiful lifelong process, which one is inspired to continue on in because of the evidence that one finds that one is never given any reason truly in reality to believe anything else. You know, things always seem, I mean, they have a way of always seeming like they're about to, where maybe that they even have already inevitably completely fallen apart beyond repair. Absolutely fascinating. It's fascinating to be able to experience that while simultaneously realizing that it's not real. And I would say it's necessary for self-mastery to master being both, you know, a human being who has problems and a spiritual being who is eternal, who does not have any problems at the same time, so that you can enjoy the experience. You know, by realizing that the suffering is always accompanied by a relief, which is joyful because it's love. It's love that doesn't make any sense, unconditional love, right? But it's the hardest thing that we do, to sit with trust of ourselves and God and the plan and the process because of what we've been through, because of the conditioning that we chose to experience upon coming here in order to have the great privilege of healing it. And so I guess the message is just that it is seen to be worth it. It is seen to be worth it. So never give up. It is always darkest before the dawn. And it's humbling. It's humbling every single time without fail, because there are no guarantees about any of this. Yeah. And that's why it rests upon something, I guess, that we collectively are familiar with as faith. And there is an evidence to it. There's a very solid evidence to it, which is why people say, I mean, it isn't faith, it's knowing, but also it is faith. But it can be known. That time, that beautiful, moment when we become truly convinced and convicted that I've been experiencing this for years. I chose to put my faith in this, and I put my faith in this every time, no matter how bad things got, no matter how bad I got. I chose to keep putting my faith in it, and it's never failed me. And so you'll know. Maybe you already do. You probably do. If you're honest with yourself and have the capacity to sit in stillness and be honest with yourself. But we all forget. Maybe every single day. And that's the nature of the craziness here. But it's also where all that beauty comes from as well. So, okay. Well, that's all I got for now. Talk to you later.